Hey guys, today I thought it would be nice to introduce you to somebody that I didn't properly show you until now. This is my betta fish Hellboy, which is a Hellboy variety of betta fish. Yes, I'm absolutely inspired with the name there, right? Well, it really kind of suits him. So he's been with me for the past month or so, and I acquired him because my previous betta fish, Mango, passed away from old age. I had Mango for several years, I loved him, and when he went, I kind of needed another betta. I always need to have a betta in my tanks. I love them so much, it's impossible for me not to get one. And I saw Hellboy in the pet shop and I fell in love. Because not only is he a variety that I rarely see in pet shops, he's one of the best looking Hellboys that I have ever seen. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about this variety and about him. And towards the end, I do want to address a little bit the long fin versus short fin thing, because some of you might know one of my previous betta, Charlie, had super long fin. I mean, ridiculously long fins, and I just did not like that at all. Anyway, we're gonna get to that. So first of all, what is a Hellboy Betta? Well, it's a particular variety of plakat type of bettas that mainly have a red coloration, but they can actually have multiple colors on them. I've even seen koi or galaxy Hellboy Bettas, which means a combination of spots and dots of black, blue, white, all sorts of colors on them. But I think the main color and the one that gives them the name is this beautiful cherry red that they have. Why I think my Hellboy is special is because he has the biggest chunk of white on him that I've ever seen. When I saw him at the pet shop initially from a distance, I thought, is that a clownfish, which is a saltwater fish? And when I got closer, I could not believe my eyes. The patch of white is so well delimited, it makes for a striking contrast with the red. Now, bettas can change colors throughout their lives, and typically they tend to get darker or have black or dark blue colors just starting to appear on them. But I discovered that when it comes to metallic colors, or better said metallic scales, these colors don't really change. So I have full confidence that that patch of white, which is actually very metallic, it will not go away. We might see some changes with his head, we might start to have some black or darker colors peeking through, and that's absolutely fine. But when it comes to the metallic scales, I don't think they will change. So he will always have pretty much half of his body being this beautiful white with blue iridescence, which is absolutely amazing, isn't it? So far in the past month, he didn't really actually change much color, but I do see a little bit of darkness right at the edge of that white, so maybe we will have a darker snout in the end. It's always fun to see how these guys change colors, and right now I did some changes in this tank. I removed some plants and I have quite a big chunk of the tank empty, so Hellboy sees his reflection a lot more than before, which makes him flare more often at his reflection. So I took this opportunity to film him in all his glory before the effect wears off and before the plants grow. Anyway, this is not his permanent home, but he does enjoy this tank, and I do enjoy seeing him flare a little bit more. He doesn't do it excessively, so that's okay. And in the end, that patch will be filled with plants. But I have to tell you guys, Hellboy is one of the most docile betta fish that I've ever owned. He never once attacked anything, not even a snail. I'm very comfortable keeping him here in this community, even though it's not gonna be his permanent home. He will have an 80-liter tank, planted tank with tank mates for him to enjoy, because I do have confidence he is not going to attack anything. I'm not gonna keep him with big fish, you know my style, tiny fish, planted tanks, that's gonna be perfect for him. So I'm very surprised because he does have the swimming capacity to chase something, and he's also incredibly curious. Whenever I do something in the tank, he's right there assisting me. And I think you remember when I got the Oasis skimmer, yeah, he was there checking out the procedures and everything. You can see him there. He is a very curious betta, like most bettas are, but I'm glad he's not very aggressive. Now, he would be aggressive with another male betta, that's why he flares at his reflection. That's a different story. I would never put two bettas in a tank, male bettas that is, and even a female and a male. That's a whole different discussion. So yeah, towards his own kind, he is definitely aggressive, but with other tank mates, he really cannot be bothered, and I'm very happy about that because he swims very fast due to his short fins. As far as I can see on the internet, these guys don't really grow a lot. Mango was a giant betta. He was enormous for a betta. His whole body was the size of Hellboy and even some more, plus his tail. Now, Mango was a veil tail, so he had more veils than Hellboy, but he still could swim very, very well. I am starting to develop a real issue with betta fish that have extreme finnage, and at some point with age, when they grow a lot of fins, or actually the length of the fins grow, they have issues swimming. That is breeding to the extreme for these traits that I'm starting to not be okay with. And I talked about this before. Charlie, the first betta that I got when I moved here to this country, in the end he developed so many fins he could barely swim. He would kind of tumble through the water and it would break my heart. And I swore that I would not get such a full of fins betta ever again. Mango was a veil tail. He didn't really have much issues swimming. He wasn't the fastest, but he didn't have issues. However, I'm trying to actively stay away from half moons and double tails and things of the sorts, even though they are beautiful. Whenever I see them, I am bewildered with their beauty, but then when I see them swim, and then when I know that in the end, when they grow older, they will have so much issues swimming, it really breaks my heart. And I've seen Charlie, how he ended up, so I don't want to go through that anymore. I don't want to write it in stone that I'm never gonna have a long fin betta, because it really depends on the setup, but I really do want to stay with short fin bettas from now on, at least in my community tanks, which I personally believe are the best for bettas. Contrary to what we are used to, bettas are not actually afraid of big spaces. They're actually very curious and ready to explore. And as long as we don't have big aggressive fish with them, they should be just fine. Even with very small fish and even with a more aggressive betta, if there is a lot of space, the chances of them clashing are not all that big. And I do observe that even if I have, let's say, a more aggressive betta, whenever I introduce them to a bigger community, that aggression pipes down. And especially if I have ditterfish, which are very exuberant fish that swim and play with each other all the time, bettas seem to pipe down on their aggression. And they don't become stressed. They don't just hide in a hole. No, they become curious. They start to be more active and more curious and check out their surroundings without actually attacking anything. Yes, here and there they will kind of always try a snail or a shrimp, some of them at least, but in the end I do observe that the more ditterfish we have and the bigger the community, the less aggressive the bettas get as well. Now, with that said, I'm sure there is a betta out there which cannot be put with anything else, not even a snail. I'm sure he exists. But in my experience, even though each and every one has its own individual personality, I do see that in communities they pipe down. And this is how I like to keep them. I did keep bettas solitary in the past, and I did observe that if they were completely alone, not even with a snail, they got really bored and really apathic. Is that a word in English? I think it is. I think I heard it before. It is in my language. So they become sad, quote unquote. They're not active, they don't do anything, they just lean on a plant or a leaf and then just look and stare into the ether, pretty much. And I have to be honest with you guys, and especially with the short fin bettas, they never just chill anywhere. They always look at something. Even if they pinch the soil, even if they pinch a leaf, they always are up to something. I don't think keeping a betta solitary in a smaller tank is all that okay. Now that I did that, but I switched to community tanks for them, I can see the difference. They eat more, they're more excited to see you, they're more excited to do anything. So I'm sure there are always exceptions, but my experience so far has led me to stick to community tanks for my bettas. One betta in a community tank, not more, not a pair, not two males, not two females. I wouldn't attempt a sorority just yet, but if I ever see a female that I like, I have no issue. Females tend to be a little bit less aggressive, although I did have some females which were more aggressive than males. It's kind of like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're gonna get. But in the end, yeah, community tanks for me and short fin bettas. As beautiful as the long fin ones are, are, when you see them display, they're just out of this world, aren't they? As much as I like to look at them, I don't want to see them having issues swimming. I don't want to see them tumble. And you guys know when you read articles saying, oh, they don't like high flow, they don't like this and the other, they like still water. No, short fin bettas have no issues with the flow. Hellboy has no issues with the flow, and that's because he has short fins and he can swim. And naturally, wild bettas do not have long fins. This is just a trait that we perpetuated and improved in captivity. But naturally, they're not long-finned. So anyway, bottom line, I'm trying to only keep short fin bettas, and I have to say I'm starting to like them more and more and more and more because they just swim so much and they're so active and so curious, and they have beautiful personalities, all of them. But when their fins hold them back, it kind of breaks my heart. So this was Hellboy, and this was the discussion about short fins and long fins. How do you guys stand on this? What has been your experience? Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've ever seen another beautiful boy such as my Hellboy there. He is gorgeous, isn't he? Look at him. Alrighty, so that's about it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me. Soon we're gonna have a bigger update on the Dutch, which is going quite well, but I need to do some changes and I see some deficiencies that I am trying to correct, but we're gonna talk about that later in a different video. Soon I'm gonna give you an update on the Sulawesi shrimps as well, because we have developments. And with that said, I hope you'll have a great day, and let me know in the comments about your experience with Hellboy Bettas if you ever had one. Alrighty, so with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye. Okay, Maya said bye too.